Hey, don't touch! Free Palestine.
This video is absolutely hilarious, from the way that the guy slyly gets the mic that she won't give to him, and then her and her friend's hilarious reaction to hearing the words Free Palestine, where they are clearly about to burst into a tirade of talking about why Palestinians don't deserve freedom. It's also so indicative of how Israeli propaganda works, because the words Free Palestine for Israeli people and Zionists are somehow connotated with the destruction of the State of Israel and the removal of Jewish people, when in reality what Palestinians are talking about is freedom from oppression from the Zionist settler colonial apartheid regime. But if you don't want to believe me, Palestinians, organizations like Amnesty, B'Tselem, over 700 academics and thousands more most likely that say this, then take it from an Israeli minister himself, who just yesterday was talking about how Jewish people should be preferenced over Palestinians in their right to movement.
הזכות שלי, של אשתי, של הילדים שלי, להסתובב בכבישי יהודה ושומרון, יותר חשוב מזכות התנועה של הערבים. סליחה מוחמד, אבל זו המציאות, זו האמת, זכות החיים שלי קודמת לזכות התנועה.
This is exactly what apartheid is, a preferential treatment of one race over the other. To claim that Palestinians are seeking to destroy the state of Israel, or that they hate Jewish people and saying Free Palestine is inappropriate, is completely farcical.
I honestly can't believe that a video like this works. I really can't believe how easy it is to spread such nonsense. All right, let's go through this one by one. So let me actually see how many views. I just want to tell you how easy it is. Let me see how much views it is. This video got 9 million views. 9 million views. And what was the two pieces of information that he used for us to convince us about the conclusion? Let's see what this. Let's look at the pieces of information that he gave us and the conclusion that he came to, and how easy it is. He just had to find one girl somewhere for a few seconds responding with a shock reaction to somebody somewhere, and he just ran with it, and he just basically created an entire narrative based on a few seconds of reaction, a clip video reaction of just a girl just opening her mouth. And let's look at how many seconds did it take? Hold on, let's see.
And I'm from Israel. I'm a model. If you know, you know. Hey, don't touch!
Free Palestine.
So how many seconds? That was 8 seconds of video, right? We're talking about a young girl somewhere talking and being shocked by somebody, and that is enough to demonize Israel as an apartheid state, and people who don't know, who are afraid of Palestinians, who don't want Palestinian freedoms. Just a video. This is what I'm talking about. Look at the level of hatred that exists for Israel. That this video, as if I can't go in. First of all, I'll tell you her reaction wasn't even bad, but let's say it was bad, right? Because I will tell you what people hear when they hear Free Palestine. He addresses it with that and acts like it's not justified. It's completely justified. He's speaking for Palestinian people, but he doesn't understand many Palestinian people. He thinks he understands. He speaks on their behalf. But let's for a second assume that that girl's reaction was unjustified and over the top, even though it was 8 seconds and it was completely clipped and we don't even know what happened after. And he acts like he knows what happened after. He says it without showing it. But let's say that girl was like, I don't know, a loony, like an Israeli person that was like idiotic and had a stupid reaction. Based on these standards, every country is apartheid. Every country is apartheid. You're looking at a young girl having been, it looks like in the middle of a party. I don't know if they're drunk or I don't know what's happening there, right? You know that I could find this everywhere. Look, let me tell you the double standard. They have to go find something like this to show how evil Israelis are. Do you know if I apply the standard to Palestinians, if I go with a microphone, I have gone actually with a microphone in Palestine and I interviewed people, right? I have been there, right? But I've been in the West Bank. I haven't been to Gaza, especially if you go to Gaza. And you know the videos that we have from people mentioning their opinions about Israel and Israelis and Jewish people coming out of Gaza, do you understand, based on your standard, we should never be supporting Palestine? I mean, I want to support Palestine. I want Palestine to be a country. I want Palestinian people to be able to, at some point, have their own country and be able to have the right to determine their own destiny and have control over their politicians and ever. That's what I want for them. You don't want that for them. You're just anti-Israeli. But if we apply the standards to the Palestinians, then are you going to show us a video of that, of what a random Palestinian is going to say about Israel if we went and interviewed them in Gaza? What an average Palestinian would say? No, you're not going to do that, because then you're going to look like you're supporting the side of evil. I wouldn't say that, but based on your standard, that's how it would apply to the entirety of Palestine. But again, this standard, I could go in the United States. I could find somebody that says something like 8 seconds. You have 8 seconds. I could find people in the United States. I could find people in Bangladesh. I could find people in Iran. I could find people in Egypt. I could find people in Indonesia. I could find people in every country on the planet that would not give you 8 seconds of a reaction to something that shouldn't be like that extreme to 8 hours. I could give you, from every country on the planet, I could get you somebody rambling for 8 hours about how an entire group of people need to be wiped out. So what? Are you going to demonize that entire country because of that person? I mean, this girl's reaction wasn't even bad. But what does this prove against Israel? Look at this 8 seconds, and also look at his conclusion.
And I'm from Israel. I'm a model. If you know, you know. Hey, don't touch!
Free Palestine.
This video.
I mean, I used to go clubbing when I was younger. I saw girls react to, like, I've seen so many reactions like that to the most mundane things. I was like, what is that? Okay, so let's see his conclusion.
It is absolutely hilarious, from the way that the guy slyly gets the mic that she won't give to him, and then her and her friend
gets the mic that she won't give to him. She was talking in it. She was using the mic. Look how, what the hell? What is up with you guys? What are you talking about? Hold on. I didn't even notice that part. She's using the mic. This is the entirety of the situation of Israel and Palestine summarized in a few seconds. She's using the mic. That guy comes and takes it by force and interrupts her. And he says that she's not letting him use the mic. This is, what the hell? Look at this.
I'm from Israel. I'm a model. If you know, you know. Hey, don't touch!
Free Palestine.
This video is absolutely hilarious, from the way that the guy slyly gets the mic that she won't give to him, and then her and her friends' hilarious reaction to hearing the words Free Palestine, where they are clearly about to burst into a tirade of...
Oh yeah, clearly about to. Without you showing us that video, you just cut it. Like, you're just gonna make up the parts, the rest of it. You're gonna make up the gap, the parts that you're not gonna show us. Yeah, let's just assume that the rest of it is, because what you showed us is not insane enough for us to be able to demonize these people. Let's just make up a story and make them look more evil or stupid than they are.
of talking about why Palestinians don't deserve freedom. It's also...
Oh yeah. See, look at this. Free Palestine. We know what Free Palestine means. Free Palestine. If Free Palestine meant that Palestinian people deserve freedom, yeah, we would agree with that. That's why we should fight Hamas. In fact, fighting Hamas is a long plan in the direction of freeing Palestinians at some point. Okay? We need to free Palestine from Hamas. But that's not what Free Palestine means. Free Palestine does not mean free Palestine. We have seen what Free Palestine means. We have seen that Free Palestine, for a lot of people, means genocide on Jewish people and every other Israeli, actually, including the Arabs and Muslims. That's what Free Palestine means. Free Palestine, Palestine means wiping off Israel off the map and invading that entire land and basically killing every single Israeli citizen that you could find in the meantime. That's what Free Palestine means to a lot of people. That's why people have such a shock reaction to Free Palestine. That's why a lot of people consider, when you say Free Palestine, that you're basically suggesting a genocide. But if Free Palestine actually meant Free Palestine, that would not be their reaction. That would not be a justified reaction. But here's what, look at the straw manning here. Look at how he basically attributes such malice to the people without actually having any proof for it. He's saying Palestinians don't deserve freedom. So he's saying that they, after the part that I caught, that I'm not showing you, they had a tirade, and the argument was these girls, these young people, these Israelis, at that point went on to, in his imaginary world, argue the fact that no, Palestinian people don't deserve freedom. Again, when you don't have any videos or any evidence that Israelis are evil, you just have to make up stories and your audience will just believe it. You got 9 million views again on this video. 9 million views with, again, let me see, 700,000 likes. 700,000 likes this video got.
About why Palestinians don't deserve freedom. It's also so indicative of how Israeli propaganda works, because the words Free Palestine for Israeli people and Zionists are somehow connotated with the destruction of the State of Israel.
Somehow. So if you are saying that, don't say that the argument is that Palestinian people don't deserve freedom. So look how he contradicts himself. He first says that people have this reaction to Free Palestine because they don't want freedom for Palestinians. But then he says here, because he notices how idiotic his claim is, that he says something that he thinks makes what he said earlier less idiotic, but it actually makes it more idiotic because it contradicts his previous claim. So people, when they hear Free Palestine, what they hear, and is correct for them to hear, is destroy Israel, wipe out Israel. That's what Free Palestine means in their mind.
And the removal of Jewish people, when in reality, what Palestinians are talking about is freedom from oppression from the Zionist settler colonial apartheid regime.
Yeah. And they want that, a lot of them want that by destroying Israel. And they don't want anything short of that. How do you not know this? How do you not know? You must know this. You act like you are saying this is what Palestinian people say and want. Have you talked to a lot of them? Have you seen the polls? Have you seen the opinion, the academic studies and the scientifically collected data on their opinions? Have you seen that? Because, sir, freedom from oppression in their mind comes when every single Jewish person or every single Israeli, depending on the Palestinian you talk to, again, not all, hashtag not all, that's how it's achieved. In fact, not only you haven't looked at polls, not only you haven't talked to many of these Palestinians, you haven't even looked at history. Because how I know that? Because the Palestinian people were offered their freedom. They were offered their freedom not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, but many, 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 many times they were offered their freedom. They were offered their country. They were offered a land for them to govern. And they said no. Do you know why they said no? Because they could not accept Israel existing as a Jewish state, as a state where Jewish people could go to and have freedom. They said they were willing to sacrifice having a country as long as it means that they could fight Israel existing as a country. So when you say Free Palestine, we have seen throughout the history of Israel and Palestine what that means. Because if you think that Free Palestine means that we get to have a country and Israel gets to have a country and they will live in freedom and we will live in freedom, we have seen that they have rejected that time and time and time again. And they said, not as long as Israel exists. So that's why we know what Free Palestine means. Free Palestine means that Israel should not get to exist. Free Palestine means that we have to have the opportunity to kill as many Jews as we want. That's what Free Palestine means. We have seen that that's what it means. They have never accepted any existence of Jewish people between the river and the sea, even if they get 1%. So a lot of people think that it's unfair how much land we were given to the Palestinians, or like they argue over the details. But when they do that, they miss the point. They miss the point that even if it was 1% to the Jews and 99% to the Arabs, they would have still fought. They would have never accepted any presence of a Jewish land or a Jewish state that is for Jewish people. Israel existing at all was the issue. It wasn't about how fair it is or how unfair it is. It's about, no, this is Islamic land or this is Arab land. Again, depends on your ideological brand of your Palestinian activism, freedom fighter, so-called freedom fighter. It's either about race or religion, but whether it's about race or it's about religion, they all have something in common, and that's hatred towards the Jews and the desire to wipe them out. That's what they share in common. But let's listen to the rest of this.
But if you don't want to believe me, Palestinians, organizations...
I do believe Palestinians, sir. You don't believe Palestinians. They have been telling, many of them, again, hashtag not all, they have been telling us what they want, and they want to wipe out Israel. That's what they want. Maybe you, sir, actually should listen to the Palestinians, and maybe, sir, you should start believing them.
Organizations like Amnesty...
No, I don't believe organizations like Amnesty. I have studied reports by Amnesty International, and they are liars. They are biased. They misrepresent. They hide facts. They are biased in even when they do report facts, they leave out important parts on purpose. Have you studied? Sir, when you talk about Amnesty, do you actually just go read the conclusion and think they're telling the truth because you are so anti-Israel that, of course, if a report says something that confirms your already existing beliefs, then you would believe them? Or did you actually go look at these reports and fact check what they're saying? Because Amnesty International is also the same organization that consider Israel to be apartheid. And if you actually go look at Israel, look at what the meaning of apartheid is and the situation of Israel, you will understand that there's no way anybody could consider Israel to be apartheid. It's insane. It's an insane accusation that Amnesty International just puts out there without any facts to back it up. So, yes, sir, I do not believe Amnesty International, but let's continue.
B'Tselem, over 700 academics and thousands more, most...
Oh, 700 academics. Which ones? Again, it's not about, it's the reports and the methodology of the reports that you should be studying, not just what I can, because you have 700 academics that it says that. I have 700 other academics that say the exact opposite. If your standard for what makes something true is that you could find 700 academics, then I guess two opposing truth claims have to be true at the same time, and that is a logical impossibility, sir. Because if your criteria for what's true is used, then contradictory claims would have to be true at the same time, and that is not possible based on basic logical axioms. Actually, yeah, this is
likely.
Yeah. And again, the academia, we have to understand, this is why you guys need to study methodologies and biases that exist and fundings rather than saying academics have said so. Because if you think academics saying something proves anything, then everything could be true. Because academics also believe that Muhammad cut the moon in half. I could find you 700 academics easy that believe Muhammad cut the moon in half. Doesn't make it true. Right? So it's not about the people saying something, it's about the methodology of the study that has been taking place. That's what matters, right? So there's that.
That say this, then take it from an Israeli minister himself, who just yesterday was talking about how Jewish people should be preferenced over Palestinians in their right to movement.
You know what I'm going to say here, right? So this is going to get a little bit more advanced. He went from a random Israeli girl at the party just opening her mouth in shock and attributing that to the entirety of Israel, to now becoming a little bit more sophisticated and finding a fascistic far-right politician in Israel and using him as a way to demonize the entirety of Israel. I have news for you, sir. Every country has those. Every country has those. And if that shows that Israel is evil, then every country in the world is evil. You think United States doesn't have politicians like that? You don't think Canada has politicians like that? You think France doesn't have politicians like that? Do you know that Israel is such a liberal and democratic country with checks and balances and enough liberal-minded people that the greatest sources of opposition to such politicians comes from within Israel itself? Why would you highlight such a horrible politician in Israel and not highlight the fact that it is Israelis themselves that are standing up to politicians like this? Why wouldn't you highlight how amazing of a job Israel's media is doing? Israel's media is very self-critical of its own country. Israel's media, go look at the rich resources and information that all of Israel's media have leaked out for us. Like, a lot of the criticism that we have for Israel comes from the great work of journalists that happens from Israel itself. A lot of the things that we accuse Netanyahu or Ben Gvir or any other politician in Israel, we accuse them of that because we have verifiable information thanks to Israeli journalists. This is a country, unlike many other Islamic or Arab countries, and unlike Hamas, unlike what's happening in the West Bank or in Gaza, that it has checks and balances, that people are held responsible. People's complaints, people's challenges against the government forces them to take one action over another. Unlike when Hamas, that can get away with actually using its own people as human shield, people in Israel, when they're upset with their prime minister or their other politicians, what happens is that they can force their hand. They could change what they do. This is what a democracy does. This is why we support Israel. Because we support Israel because Ben Gvir, as evil as he is, as fascistic as he is, as racist as he is, Israel is a country where Israeli people can do something about it. Israeli people can stand up against it. Israeli people can have an effect. Now, many times, just like any other democratic countries, sometimes we don't like where the results of the democratic process goes. But the main thing that we care about is the fact that the democratic process exists, and also the liberal values and the liberal structure, not just the democratic structure, but the liberal structure that many Israelis are trying to defend. This same person, here's why I love Israel and why I think Israel should be defended. Because the liberal foundations of this country that people like Ben Gvir is trying to challenge, and Israeli people were in the streets in the largest mass protests in Israel. Israeli people were in the streets challenging people like this guy that you're about to show, trying to defend their country's liberalism. But let's see what this guy has to say. So this guy say, my rights and my wife, here. My right, and my wife and my children's rights to drive on the roads of Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, is more important than the Arabs' rights to freedom of movement. Sorry, Muhammad, but that's the reality, that's the truth. My right to life takes priority over your right to movement. Well, actually, I mean, the things that he said before are wrong, but this part is not wrong. Anyone's right to life is more important than anyone else's right to movement, I would say, yes.
This is exact.
Yeah, so if he's talking about my right to movement is more important than your right, my right to movement as a Jewish person is more important than your right to movement than an Arab, that's racist and disgusting and fascistic, and this guy should be condemned for saying stuff like that, right? But if he says my right to life is more important than your right to movement, again, I'm not going to nitpick. That guy is evil. That's right. That guy is a fascist wannabe. But let's look at what he says here next, because this is the problematic part. Okay, so this is the wrong conclusion that he takes from this.
What apartheid is, a preferential treatment.
No. See, this is what you don't understand. He's saying this is what apartheid is. Okay. First of all, if he's talking about the West Bank, that is not even Israel. Apartheid means having two-tier citizenship. People in the West Bank are not citizens of Israel for you to even be able to. This is why you don't understand. You don't understand what apartheid is. Okay, so that is nonsense. And also, you have to understand the difference between people with problematic views and what eventually gets written down and enforced as policy. Every country has people with problematic views in their politics. But what we judge a country is what gets executed, what gets put down as a law, and what is enforced as a law. That's how we judge a country. Because in fact, if you have politicians with problematic views and that doesn't get translated to problematic decisions, that actually shows the strength of the democracy and the liberalism of that country. That you have checks, that you have a wall between what a politician thinks and what a politician can do. That's how you judge a country. And again, there are criticisms for Israel here, but not in the way that this person is suggesting, because this person says this is a politician that says something, and now you want to judge the entirety of the country by. What you have to see is what actually gets enforced, what actually gets put down as the law, and what gets enforced. And if you want to call Israel an apartheid, you have to understand that every single citizen of Israel, whether Arab or Jew or anything else, they enjoy equal rights. Do we have racist people in Israel? Yes, we have racist people in every country. Do Arabs experience sometimes racism in Israel? Yes, Arabs experience racism in any country, almost any country that they're a minority. But just like United States is not apartheid, even though black people feel racism sometimes in the United States, but we don't have any laws against black people in the United States. Israel is not apartheid because if you are an Arab citizen of Israel, you have every single right and every single freedom as every other citizen of that country. That makes you not an apartheid.
This is exactly what apartheid is, a preferential treatment of one race over the other.
No, a preferential treatment of one race over another as citizens of your country. So these are many problems with what they say. First of all, they are not even the preferential treatment of Jews versus Arabs. It's not even being enforced by Israel as within their laws. So I don't know what you're talking about. In fact, Israel seems to be caring more about Arabs and Muslims than the state of Hamas in Gaza, because they are doing way more than Hamas has ever done to protect even non-citizen Arab Israelis. So I don't know. The Palestinian people will be lucky for their statesmen to care about them as much as Israel cares about them. That's how bad they're being treated. So even when it comes to Arabs who are not their citizens, Israel treats them better than their own state. That's one. Two, they are not even that's not even apartheid, even if they were doing that, because those are people who are not citizens of Israel. If you want to see if Israel is apartheid or not, look how Jews and Arabs are being treated when they're citizens of Israel.
To claim that Palestinians are seeking to destroy the state of Israel or that they hate Jewish people and saying free Palestine is inappropriate is completely farcical.
Well, they are saying that. They are saying that. I mean, what are you talking about? There's videos of it. They teach that in their kindergarten, in their schools in Gaza. I mean, have you not? How could you just come and say nonsense? It's on their media. It's on their TV. It's in their school curriculum that they want to wipe out every single Jew, that they want to kill them. It's in their charter. It's in their charter of the state that people in Gaza elected to govern them has in their charter that they want to wipe out the entirety of Israel and also kill Jews. It's in their charter. Like, how could you just come and say something is farcical and get 700,000 likes and 9 million views? Like, how easy is it to spread hatred against Jews and Israel with baseless accusations? Why do these people have so much power? This guy just made a video saying stuff that is absolutely not true. 1 minute video, 1.5 minute video, and 9 million people just watched it and believe these things. Like, why is it so easy? Why is it so hard to clean up this mess? And it's so easy to spread it.